Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please rise? We welcome the graduates of Basic Police Class 435, led in today on the bagpipes by Officer Aaron Anderson, Portland Police Bureau, and Trooper George Economou, Oregon State Police, both members of the Portland Police Highland Guard. Please remain standing for the posting of the colors and our national anthem being sung by Recruit Trooper Owen Halsey, who is also accompanied by his wife, Mary Halsey.
Color guard, attention! Forward, march! Forward, march. Ready, turn. Color guard, halt! Center, face! Prepare to post the colors. Ready? Post! Right, face! Color guard and uniform personnel, present arms!
Please be seated. Well, good morning again, and welcome to the graduation ceremony for Basic Police Class 435. My name is Mike Johnson, and I, along with Kyle Van Cleve, had the sincere honor of serving as the training coordinators for this class. On behalf of this agency, BP, SS&T staff, and the members of the graduating class, we thank you for being here this morning. It's now my pleasure to introduce our special guests and DPSST staff who will participate in today's program. Oregon State Police Superintendent Casey Cotting, Chief Bob Day with the Portland Police Bureau, and Class Coordinator Kyle Van Cleve. It's quite an honor to have two special guest speakers today, Superintendent Cotting and Chief Day. It's also very fitting for this particular occasion. But before I introduce them to speak, let me tell you a little bit about the class that sits before you today. BP435 is a special class. This was the first time the Academy combined two agencies and added a fifth class to our standard rotation of 4 classes. And those of you that are in the profession currently know now that these are critical times with critical needs. Just about every agency across our region is down in numbers and needs more police officers. That's not the only reason these guys are special. On day one, I challenged this class. I told them they have the responsibility to lead the way on this campus. Not as elitists, but as examples of hard workers with positive attitudes and grateful personalities who are respectful to their fellow classmates, instructors, staff, and their future colleagues, the other students. I challenged them to come together, not as two agencies, but one team. I asked them to blend cultures, learn from one another, and above all else, support and respect one another. To say the very least, they far exceeded my expectations. The number of positive comments from instructors and coordinators in every single venue they trained in was astonishing. And this was continuous throughout their entire 16 weeks. A week before graduation, I received a card from an Academy instructor that was addressed to BP435. This instructor explained that he would be out of town for graduation, and he would appreciate it if I would present this card and read the letter inside to the class. I read this to the class yesterday. It was impactful and so very true of who they are. Here's an excerpt from it. This is a quote. Sincerely, PPB and OSP, your communities and this state are so fortunate to have such competent, humble, and caring law enforcement officers and troopers in their service. It is easy to see you all have kind hearts. This is good. Do let your kind hearts guide you. Be humble and kind as you carry out your responsibilities while remembering there will be people with intent to hurt you. You're all where you are for a reason. You show character, courage, integrity, and grit. Your communities and people like me are indebted to you. Hot dog, Chris Bullock. I think it was about the end of day 2 or 3, week 1, that when I was approached by one of the students who presented me with a sheet of paper. On that paper had the names and the end of watch dates of the 65 troopers and officers from both agencies that had been killed in the line of duty. They then invited me to join them in the dorm hallway. At the end of the day, sorry, this chokes me up a little bit. We all have friends that have gone before us in this profession. Geez, I told these guys yesterday, I can hardly give away Little League trophies when I was a coach without crying, so embarrassing. They then invited me to join them in the dorm hallway at the end of the day, where they were reading the names aloud and doing push-ups in between each name of the fallen brother and sister. From that moment on, I wasn't worried about the character of this class. I was humbled. Their reverence for others and this profession was truly inspiring. I also had a fairly strict set of rules and expectations, I guess you would call them, that I requested of the class. One of these expectations was that they travel together to all venues. If one was late, then the entire squad or team was late. I had weekly rotating squad leaders. Their job was to manage the location and times they would all meet, make sure everyone had the right gear for that particular venue, and make sure they traveled together. There were some growing pains at first, Some commented on the fairness of this requirement, as we all know that some people are more organized and timely than others, and this causes a little bit of stress for everyone. If we are not accountable to someone else, if I know that nobody is really counting on me, then how do I learn to hold myself accountable? In this profession, accountability is everything. We must count on one another, on our team, and our colleagues. We have to be early, switched on, squared away with all gear, and have a preemptive mission mindset. And it starts with personal accountability. In the 16 weeks, this class was never late, and they never left anybody behind. That's special class. It is now my pleasure to introduce our first guest speaker, Superintendent Casey Cotting. Superintendent Casey Cotting was appointed by the governor as the 15th superintendent of the Oregon State Police in 2023. He began his career as an OSP cadet in 1996 and has over 27 years of law enforcement experience with the agency. Now as a superintendent, Casey commands more than 1,400 troopers, investigators, and professional staff who provide a full range of policing and public safety services to Oregon and other law enforcement agencies in the state. As an OSP trooper, Casey dedicated over 8 years to the patrol division, encompassing roles in crash reconstruction, special operations, and field training. Following his tenure, he spent 2 years in the criminal division before assuming responsibilities as a patrol sergeant. Casey then ascended through various ranks, occupying roles including special operations lieutenant, region captain, operation bureau major, and deputy superintendent. Through his years of service and extensive experience, Superintendent Cotting holds firm to the values and missions set forth by OSP to serve all people and safeguard our community's property and natural resources. He remains involved in developing programs with the focus of providing the highest level of safety and service to the people of Oregon. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mike. Hello, everyone. Honored to be here before friends and family of BP Class 435. I see a room full of support, love, and admiration for this class and what they have accomplished over the last 4 months. As the superintendent of the Oregon State Police, it is a pleasure to share the stage with Chief Day and speak to this amazing group of troopers. First, I'd like to thank those who got us here. Director Castle and the dedicated DPSST staff, class coordinator and training legend, Mike Johnson, the countless OSP and PPV members, and especially the families that have supported their loved ones' journey to be on this stage and begin a career in what I would argue is an admirable profession out there. Over the last year, I've spoken about our pursuit to create a culture of excellence and accountability. This special day of achievement, I'd like to expand. Excellence is the relentless pursuit of greatness in everything you do. As guardians of justice, excellence must be your constant companion. Strive for excellence in your training, in your service, and in your commitment to uphold the values of your department. Never settle for mediocrity, but instead push the boundaries of what is possible. Embrace continuous learning and self-improvement. Excellence is not a destination, but a journey of perpetual advancement. Accountability. It is a sacred obligation. It accompanies the badge you wear. With great power comes great accountability. We're not just accountable to the laws you enforce, but also the communities you serve. Hold yourselves to the highest standards of ethical conduct and transparency. Embrace accountability as a guiding principle, not as a burden, but as a beacon of integrity that illuminates. Remember that accountability is not just about owning up to your mistakes, also about continuously striving for improvement. Over the years, I've witnessed incredible courage. I've witnessed acts of sacrifice, courage almost daily. Courage is a word that resonates deeply within the hearts of law enforcement. It is unwavering determination to confront adversity head on, to stare fear in the eyes, to stand resolute in the face of danger. Each one of you has embarked on this journey knowing full well the risks and challenges that But is your challenge, willingness to put yourselves in harm's way, safeguard others, sets you apart. As you step into the realm of law enforcement, always remember that courage is not the absence of fear, triumph over it. If you had all day, I would bottle up the wisdom in this room. I would speak for hours. Time is limited. I am a short-winded person by nature. I'm going to give you some simple words I've strung together over my career that I try to remember. Law enforcement has a ton of acronyms. They've learned many, I'm sure, and they're going to learn a few more. So I put some words together. First three start with the letter P. So when you face a tactical environment, tactical decision-making, things that are going to challenge you in that arena, I strung together pace, position, and priorities. Put a lot of words to those and a lot of meaning to that. Me, pace was important. My position, always important. Where am I in the world? What I'm facing? And priorities. Okay. Another set of three P's. Simple. This is for your career in general. This has helped me. Perspective. This career, how does it fit into my life? Performance, always strive to do your best. Check yourself on where you're at. And professionalism. If you lead with professionalism, always going to be on good ground. Here's another little acronym I've used over the years. PGA, not golf association. On a daily basis, I would always ask myself, what are my plans? My goals? How is my attitude? PGA. If I check those throughout the day, I usually had good outcomes. Additionally, I will offer these words from first Superintendent Charles P. Prey. Know your authority well and use it wisely. Some lessons I've learned over the years. Don't believe everything you think. Stay busy doing the right things. Always strive to build confidence and competence. Be adverse to predictable negative outcomes. Put your energy into positives throughout your career. Remember to have fun. Congratulations. Welcome to the law enforcement community, and thank you all.
Thank you, Superintendent Cotting. It's now my honor to introduce Chief Bob Day with the Portland Police Bureau. Bob Day retired as Deputy Chief of the Portland Police Bureau in 2019. Following his retirement, he launched Reluctant Change, a company that offers workshops, keynote speeches, and consulting services on how to use humility, curiosity, empathy, and hope as a vital pathway to managing change and leading effectively. Bob has also worked as a consultant and contractor for various companies, including as the Director of Strategic Initiatives for the Red Door Project, Loans Management Consulting, and as a project manager for Mayor Ted Wheeler's office. Bob's law enforcement experience spans 29 years. After being appointed to the Portland Police Bureau in 1990, he held multiple ranks, including officer, sergeant, lieutenant, and captain. Bob served as a Central Precinct Commander, as well as Tactical Incident Commander and Crowd Control Commander. He was appointed to Assistant Chief and later Deputy Chief in May of 2018. As a member of the Chief's executive team, he oversaw the majority of the day-to-day responsibilities of the Police Bureau, focusing mainly on operations and investigations. During his years of service, Bob developed a reputation as a skilled leader and innovative manager. He has been honored by multiple community groups and businesses for his dedication to community policing values and concepts. Bob has championed equity issues and implicit bias training as critical components in contemporary policing. He has led difficult but critical conversations regarding race and bias within his department, with other criminal justice leaders and community members. Bob has a Bachelor of Arts in Organizational Management and Leadership from George Fox University. He also holds an associate's degree in criminal justice from Clackamas Community College. Welcome, Chief Day.
Wow, that was a lot. I leaned over to the superintendent and said, I didn't know who sent that or what they said, but I appreciate that very much. So great to be here. Thank you, Director Castle. Thank you to your team. Fantastic work. Congratulations to all of the graduates. The last time I stood on a stage for DPSST, it was called BPST in June of 1990 when I graduated from the academy. I think a show of hands if there was anybody alive in June of 1990. Didn't think so. Maybe one or two. Okay, so you know, we've come a long ways from class 157 to class 435, but it's an honor to be here. And it's certainly an honor to share the stage with Superintendent Connie, who I have a lot of respect for, but I have a great amount of respect and appreciation for the state police in general. I actually started my career in 1988 with the state police. And despite my best effort to learn how to march, I just couldn't get there. Lieutenant Dotson used to make me carry a rock in my left hand, so I knew what my left and my right was. So, sir, that's why I had to go to the city, because I just couldn't figure out how to march. But I have a tremendous amount of respect for OSB and really grateful for the opportunity to share this experience together. And I know that it's been very positive for the recruits, and I think it's only going to grow as we go forward. So thank you very much for that. You know, I just quickly want to touch on 3 core behaviors. And the reason that I want to mention behaviors is because behaviors demonstrate our values. Behaviors demonstrate our values. When you're out there in the community and you're out there connecting with folks, they're less concerned about your intentions and they're more concerned about your behaviors, because that's what speaks to who you are and how you show up. 3 quick behaviors, and they were touched on briefly as in my bio. The first one I want you to think about is the behavior of humility. And these are not meant to be in your head. They're not meant to be just something you think about. They're meant to be actionable. Humility does 3 things for you. 3 things. First thing humility does is it allows you to take risks. And I'm not talking about tactical risks. I'm not talking about cutting corners, but humility allows you to take risks, because when you lead from a position of humility, you realize you might make mistakes. And you're okay with that. You understand you're not always going to get it right. I'm not suggesting that you take risks that put you or others in danger, but there will be opportunities for you to step up. There'll be opportunities for you to make decisions, maybe inside your organization or inside your communities, that might require you to take a risk. But when you lead with humility, you realize that you might make a mistake, and that's okay. The second thing humility does is it allows you to take in new information. You've been doing that for 16 weeks. You've been taking in a lot of new information. Don't ever lose that ability to listen and take in new information. It's easy as you progress in your career to think that you figured it out, you have it all, you understand it, you've seen this before. Really be available to continue to take in new information. And the final thing that humility will allow is it'll allow you to offer other people dignity. A common basic right that we all deserve is that right for dignity. I had that experience just recently. I was on a plane and a pilot sat down next to me, and I always like it when the pilot sits down next to me, because I feel like if anything goes south up front, I got a backup plan. And so this pilot sat down next to me, and we were in the front of the plane. And as the safety briefing started, we were both on our phones. And when the briefing started, the flight attendant standing right in front of us, he puts his phone down and he watches the flight attendant do the briefing. And I fly quite often. And I thought, man, if you don't know how to buckle your seatbelt at this point, we got a problem, right? You're a pilot. You should know how to do this. Anyway, he watched the whole briefing. Flight attendant finished. He went back to his phone. I thought, well, that was interesting. So I was on a plane a couple of weeks later and sitting towards the front. And when the flight attendant started her briefing, I put my phone down. I watched. It's about 2 minutes. I've timed it since. When she finished, I went back to my phone, and she leaned down and she said, "You get an A for the day." I said, "I get an A for the day." I said, "Why is that?" She said, "Because I stand up here all day long and I look at the heads of everybody. Nobody's paying attention. Thank you for paying attention to the safety briefing." So humility offers people dignity, something that I've had to learn. But humility will allow you to take in new information, take risks, and offer others dignity. The second behavior I want you to think about and really embody is one of curiosity. Don't ever stop asking why. Don't ever stop being curious. Curious for yourself, why you're showing up the way you are, how you're doing the work you're doing, challenging the organization, the leadership of the organization, always being curious. Warren Berger, in his book, A More Beautiful Question, says that the average toddler between the ages of 2 and 5 will ask 40,000 questions. Any of us that have raised a child or has a child that age thinks that's on the low end, I'm sure. But, you know, it's only natural as we get older, we stop asking why the sky is blue, either because we've Googled it and we know, or we don't care. But the reality is, don't ever stop being curious. It's a gift. It allows you to see others more deeply. It allows you to learn about yourself. Continue with the behavior of curiosity. The final behavior I'll mention is empathy. And the significance of empathy in our work cannot be overstated. You're going to see what the worst that man can do to your fellow man. You're going to see things that shouldn't be repeated, and they certainly are in no way representative of how we should treat each other. But that's the space that you're being called into. Don't ever lose the ability to develop empathy. One final quick story. When I was first on the Bureau in the early 90s, I was on the Mounted Patrol Unit, and there was a legendary sergeant on the unit by the name of Dave Poole. He'd been on for 20 years in the Mounted Patrol Unit. And the barn was on the north end of town, and when you went to work, you went through Old Town. And I would stop all the time in Old Town on my horse and arrest people for dealing drugs, because by golly, I was a young cop. We were going to put people in jail. We were going to make a difference. And I liked the challenge of trying to catch people doing things illegally from horseback, which how they did not see the big brown animal going clippity-clop down the sidewalk, I don't know, but we had some success. But Dave Poole would go farther into town and go into the Pioneer Square, O'Brien Square, the parks of the city of Portland, and he would spend time with what we called street kids back then, before we had a homeless problem that we speak of today. These are kids that are couch surfing or using services, and he would spend hours talking with these young people, sometimes arresting them, oftentimes just listening to them. And I had no patience for that. I was 25 years old. I didn't need to listen to that. I was out making a difference. And he used to say, Bob, there's a whole city south of Old Town. There's a whole city south of Old Town. 4 years I was in the unit. I finally started to get out of Old Town. I'd be walking my horse down the sidewalk. People would stop me and they'd say, hey, is Poole working? And I'd say, well, he's on his day off. You tell him I'm clean and sober. I'd say, okay. A few weeks later, I get stopped by some 20-year-old, 30-year-old, and they'd say, is Poole working? I'd say, oh, he's over such and such. Well, you tell him that I got my life together. I started running into these people throughout my career, and I would finally say, what's the deal? What is this? Why are you telling me this? And they'd say, I was a 16-year-old kid in the park. Dave Poole was the only guy who listened to me. Sometimes he'd arrest me. Sometimes he'd take me to jail. But he always taught me with respect. He always demonstrated empathy. He provided me dignity. If you go to Old Town today, there's still a lot of dope being sold. Doesn't mean that I wasn't effective. Doesn't mean that I tried to do my job and I did it well, and I'm proud of that. But I saw firsthand the impact that Dave Poole's legacy had in the area of empathy, seeing people in their humanity, meeting them in a different place, making that difference. So stay humble, be curious, lead with empathy. For those of you in the room that are joining us, welcome to the family. Truly welcome to the family. This Superintendent Cotty said a minute ago, I think this is the most honorable profession in America. That's why I came back to it. I get a text about every week. What the hell were you thinking? You were retired and now you're back. It was easy to come back because I love this profession. I love the men and women who serve. I'm always encouraged and inspired by these events, by the men and women lined up in the back of the room. Of course, never taking a seat, just standing. But that's just the way that we do business. Welcome to the family. We will do our best to support them and to support you. None of us do this alone. We're all in it together. Finally, I just want to end with a reminder. You're probably as well trained today as you're going to be. I know you're going to get additional training from us, and I know you're going to get additional training from the state police. But really, you have received as much as the state's going to give you. We're going to build on that. But the challenge you're going to face over the course of your career is staying on that cutting edge, because life is going to get in the way. You're going to have families. You're going to have shift work. It's hard to stay as focused and as the level of expertise that you've achieved right now. But don't ever stop learning. Don't ever stop learning. Don't ever think you've arrived. I'm right now just finishing a book called You're Not Listening, What You're Missing and Why It Matters by Katie Murphy. And I'm going to end with this quote. She quotes Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers is largely known for coming up with the term active listening, which is, I'm sure, a conversation that you've had around trying to hear better and listen to people and what they're saying. And he says, after a lifetime of studying, listening, and learning, he says, while I still hate to readjust my thinking, I still hate to give up old ways of perceiving and conceptualizing, yet at some deeper level, I have, to a considerable degree, come to realize that these painful reorganizations are what is known as learning. These painful reorganizations are what is known as learning. Never stop learning. Be humble, be curious, lead with empathy, and by all means, be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Day. Now I'd like to take a moment to thank all the members of our Color Guard detail for their dedication to honoring our nation's colors. Will the members of the Color Guard please stand and be recognized? I ask that you please hold your applause until all names have been read. Officer Josiah Shusiak, Recruit Trooper Owen Halsey, Recruit Trooper Michael Bratz, Recruit Trooper Nicholas Dayton, Recruit Trooper Darren Wilmarth, Recruit Trooper Cody Hamilton, Officer Austin Reiber, and Officer Carson Kropp, and our Color Guard leader, Officer Elizabeth Eliza Walton. Well done, and all the hard work you put into it.
Take seats.
Now our custom to introduce students who have achieved individual honors during the 16 weeks here at the Academy. As we present these awards, please feel free to come forward and take the photographs. We'll keep them here until you do. I would love to invite Chief Day and Superintendent Cotting and Kyle Van Cleve to stand and help present these individual awards. The first award is the Leo B. App Marksmanship Award. This award is named in honor of Leo B. App Jr., who worked in law enforcement for more than 30 years. Following his retirement, he worked to train law enforcement officers in firearms, including NRA firearm instructor courses. It is presented to a student who has displayed exemplary leadership and teamwork, as well as excellence in marksmanship, safety, and tactical proficiency. The Leo B. App Outstanding Shooter Award for Basic Police Class 435 is presented to Officer Austin Reiber with the Portland Police Bureau. I'm going to go a little off script here just a little bit. So I standardly read a definition of this award as it talks about the 42 Health and Fitness Award is what it is. The 42 PT sessions. Yeah, 42 PT sessions these students take part in the 16 weeks they're here, and they're not easy. However, on Tuesday of this week, I was approached by the fitness and nutrition coordinator himself, and he gave me the following message and asked if I'd share it with the class. And I thought it was fitting to share it here. Effort, attitude, and work ethic are phrases commonly used in the athletic training arena. In the DPSST gym, we use relentless, infectious, and intentional to define our expectations. As a whole, the class of BP435 met and exceeded our expectations. BP435 became the first class since BP416 to have an average power index of over 20 at 20.67. It's impressive. 2 individuals achieved elite level scores, above 40 for males and above 20 for females. Luke Melkow scored 43.69 and Keisha Combus scored 20.68. In addition to these expectations, the Health and Fitness Award demands perfect attendance, performance over potential, and relentless drive to always improve. There are a number of students deserving this award from this class of BP 435, but in the end, one stood out above all others. The Health and Fitness Award winner for BP 435 is Caden Gerlach, Portland Police Bureau. An award is given for the best performance in defensive tactics, as determined by Academy instructors. Because of professionalism, can-do attitude, and personal passion and commitment to training, The award for Best Performance in Defensive Tactics for Basic Police Class 435 goes to Recruit Trooper Cody Black, Oregon State Police. We rehearsed a lot of stuff, but the handshaking thing we didn't really go over too. Bear with us. The next award is the Lee M. Bohm Academic Achievement Award. Is named in honor of Lee M. Bohm, who was appointed as the first executive secretary of the Advisory Board on Police Standards and Training in 1962. It is presented to the student from each basic police class who has displayed outstanding scholastic achievement. Before I announce this, the class average was incredible. They take 5 quizzes, a midterm, and a final. And our class average was around 88, almost 89%. And it is not easy. I did 30 years on the job, and if I was to step in here without going through this curriculum and try to take those tests, I wouldn't pass. They have to work very hard. The top 5 people were within 1.5% for this award. But the award is actually presented to Josiah Sushak, Portland Police Bureau, 97.29%. The Victor G. Attia Outstanding Student Award is named in honor of the former distinguished governor of the state of Oregon from 1979 to 1987. Governor Attia was instrumental in the creation of the dedication, or in the creation of dedicated facility for the training of Oregon's public safety agencies. This prestigious award goes to the student in each basic class who is selected by students and academy staff as the most outstanding student in the class. The student selected has displayed exceptional professionalism by demonstrating exemplary attitude and outstanding achievement in leadership, academics, health and fitness, and survival skills. Further, this student is considered to embody the spirit and dedication of the class as a whole, representing the entire group and representing the profession with a positive demeanor and outlook. DPSST is proud to honor the recipient of Victor G. Attia Outstanding Student Award for Basic Police Class 435, Recruit Trooper Owen Halsey. That last award, the Attia Award, is voted on by the class. I really don't put any weight into it. I let them choose. I had to read those ballots like 3 times. They had so many people were nominated and so many votes were there just because of how much they care for one another and respect one another. Impressive. So it's now my privilege to introduce the class spokesperson for Basic Police Class 435, also chosen by their class to represent them. Recruit Trooper Joel Farmer, Oregon State Police.
On behalf of Basic Police Class 435, I'd like to thank both Superintendent Cotting and Chief Day for speaking at our graduation today. I'd like to present both this token of our appreciation. Sirs. I would like to start out with some thank yous to the DPSST staff. The coordinators, instructors, role players, kitchen staff, custodial, maintenance, landscaping, IT, administrative teams. With the record amount of students here on campus right now, it would have been understandable, if not expected, to have constant issues, scheduling issues, last minute venue changes, equipment that doesn't work. And that was just not the case. We had 16 weeks of uninterrupted training. For that, thank you very much to the DPSST staff for allowing us to focus on our training. Next, Mike Johnson. We are stronger, smarter, and wiser than we were 16 weeks ago. A lot of that is due to the input he had on this class. We learned way too much throughout the basic police curriculum to go through all the lessons learned, so I'm just going to focus on a few things that Mike Johnson taught us. First, the importance of always washing your hands before and after using the restroom, leaving us with a vivid example of what can happen if you don't, and instilling fear in our hearts. I know that I wash my hands a lot more. Next, Mike's philosophy on training. Train every time like it's your last opportunity to train before your next violent encounter. Because someday it will be. Thankfully, he gave us that lesson early on, because there are a lot of things that I'm sure probably would have slipped past us in training had we not had that in our head as we were going through all of our training. We'll have safer careers for it. Next, family is everything. Prioritize them in all decision-making throughout your career. You can still have a long career, accomplish everything you ever want, but you don't have to do it at the cost of your family. I think it was extremely prudent to get that message from him early on in our careers and to get it from somebody that we respect as much as him. It was clear to us throughout the 16 weeks how lucky we got to have Mike as our coordinator, but we were reminded often, staff, instructors, anybody that found out that we were 435 and had Mike Johnson reminded us that we were very lucky to have him as a coordinator. It's obvious that he has a lot of well-earned street cred out there, and we are sincerely appreciative and thankful for all of his time and efforts. Next to the families, for the biggest sacrifice deserves the biggest thank you. While we were here learning new things, shooting guns, driving fast, they were at home holding down the fort with one less set of hands. You know, personally, my pregnant wife was at home corralling a toddler somewhere over there, working full-time, holding down the fort, probably cussing me under her breath from time to time. And I know there are a lot of other families out here in the crowd right now going through the same thing. We are starting a difficult career, and without the support of all of you, we would have little to no chance of success. For that reason, if you were one of those holding down the home front while we were here training, will you please stand right now so that we can recognize you? Next to the significance of the all PPV and OSP class. I think a lot of the significance was probably lost on us from our vantage point here, just focusing on training, but I can tell you just a little bit about what it was like from our shoes. Speaking to that initial meeting, the trooper recruits on the stage here had been on campus for about a month already, and had just wrapped up our pre-academy. It's safe to say that we were wound a little tight by the end of that. There's a lot of anticipation at what it would be like for the PPB folks to show up. And speaking to my personal experience, I walked into my dorm room for the first time to meet my new PPB roommate over at his side of the room. His bed was made, it was squared away, he had hospital corners, he had an Army National Guard duffel bag under the bed. We got along right away. Would you agree, Crop? Would you agree? I think that's the case for most of the class, the vast majority. It was, the integration between agencies happened sooner and smoother, I think, than most people would have expected. While I understand there's a lot of benefits to having a basic police class with a wide variety of agencies, so you have a broad network across the state, the split between the two largest agencies definitely brought the energy to a different level. We held each other accountable, we pushed each other to a higher standard, and we learned a lot from each other. Personally, I'll be a trooper recruit headed to the Portland office, and I sincerely look forward to working with all the PPB folks up here on the stage. You think of society as a pendulum, safe to say that it's way out there to the crazy side right now. But optimistically, it does feel like it's starting to come back towards the middle. Confident in the individuals on this stage that we will do our part in pulling it back, and that we will use our authority wisely and serve our communities with integrity and compassion. Thank you.
Now for the graduates. This is a part of the ceremony that you've been looking forward to. Presentation of your certificates marks the conclusion of your training and the highlight of today's graduation. It signals the end of one phase of your career and the beginning of another. At this time, I'd like to ask Superintendent Cotting, Chief Day, and Coordinator Mike Johnson to assist with handing out the certificates. Please feel free to come forward and take photos. We'll make time to take pictures. We're not going to let them get away. Members of Class 435, please rise and come forward when your name is called. Officer Rebecca Austin, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Cody Black, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Trevor Bostwick, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Michael Bratz, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Glennis Cates, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Angel Chapman, Oregon State Police. Officer Kiara Childers, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Keisha Combus, Oregon State Police. Officer Carson Kropp, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Nicholas Dayton, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Colton DeFabio, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Joel Farmer, Oregon State Police. Officer Caden Gerlach, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Owen Halsey, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Cody Hamilton, Oregon State Police. Officer Kinsey Hensley, Portland Police Bureau. Officer Martin Lee, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Brandon Lewis, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Luke Melskow, Oregon State Police. Oh, we got another one. Recruit Trooper Alexander Muncie, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Kieran Pruitt, Oregon State Police. Recruit Trooper Edward Ramirez, Oregon State Police. Officer Dave Randall, Portland Police Bureau. Officer Garrett Reeser, Portland Police Bureau. Officer Austin Reiber, Portland Police Bureau. Officer Cody Rodell, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Logan Schneider, Oregon State Police. Officer Josiah Sushak, Portland Police Bureau. Officer Nathan Swanson, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Nicholas Torres, Oregon State Police. Officer Michael Trujillo, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Maximilian Vanderpool, Oregon State Police. Officer Eliza Walton, Portland Police Bureau. Recruit Trooper Darren Wilmarth, Oregon State Police. Officer Travis Wortman, Portland Police Bureau.
Roll forward. Take seats.
Now it is my honor to administer the Criminal Justice Code of Ethics. Lewis. Will the members of Basic Police Class 435 please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I swear or affirm as a criminal justice officer that my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect all persons against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, the peaceful against violence or disorder, to respect the constitutional rights of all people, to liberty, equality, and justice. Please join me in congratulating the class of 435. This almost concludes our graduation ceremony. We thank you for being with us on this special day. We invite you to join us for a reception in the lobby to honor the graduates. We ask that you please remain at your seats until the graduates have been dismissed. On behalf of the department and all the DPSST staff, we wish each graduate health, happiness, and success in the future. BP435, you've been listening to my speeches and my bad dad jokes for 16 weeks. So no more speeches. Just a couple parting thoughts. I hope you can find some value in as you move forward in this career. Privilege. Talked a lot about privilege. This class and I have done a few push-ups over the last 16 weeks. They actually set and achieved a goal for themselves. These push-ups are somewhat controversial with a few people here on campus. There is purpose behind it. I like to call these push-ups privilege. They were never mandated. They were always optional. They were never punitive. They were always a celebration of the opportunity to get a little stronger together. Now let them serve as a reminder. Privilege. There are very few professions on this planet that provide you the opportunity to change a life every day. This is a responsibility you cannot forget or take lightly. Keep watch for these opportunities. They aren't always obvious. That is a privilege. Remember that you ride for the brand of your agency, but you stand for the badge of office. When you have bad days or are momentarily unhappy with your brand, remember what you stand for and for those that came before you. The oath you took here on this stage today are not just words. This profession and the oath you spoke is a privilege. Every time you get an opportunity to train as if it's the last opportunity you will have before your next violent encounter, because at some point, it will be. We never get enough time to train. Don't waste any of it. Training is a privilege. Your family is the priority of your life. They should always come first. You will have to work hard to keep that true, as this profession asks a lot of them. Do the work, make them the priority. Having family is the ultimate privilege. 435, been my privilege to be associated with you. You are dismissed.